The number one comment I saw in yesterday's video was, "What is going on inside of Watchtower? Are they losing their minds?" Well, if you thought that about yesterday's video, wait till you hear what they have to say today, because you're about to lose your shit. Shiitake mushrooms. I got some at the store and I can't find them anymore. I don't know what happened to them. So no YouTube. I didn't swear in the first 30 seconds of my video, so don't demonetize me.
All the shiny things that we see promise us pleasure and security. But if we want it all, there's a cost. We could be slaves to what we've bought. Let's keep it simple. Jehovah knows what we need. Let's keep it simple and be happy. Let's keep it simple, and you and I will be free. Let's keep it simple and be happy.
I don't know why I derive so much pleasure from going right into the music videos with no context or anything whatsoever. It just makes me have a bit of a jump scare. But anyway, this one is very odd. Let's just break down a little bit of this. So first off, the line of "these shiny things are said to provide happiness and security." Who are you talking to? Who out there is saying shiny things, which is that terminology is often associated with things that aren't necessary? Who out there is saying this will provide you security? I've never heard that in my entire life. They're arguing against ghosts. No one is out there saying, hey, go buy a new PS5. It'll provide you security. Go and buy a new computer. It'll provide you security. We're like, no, if you don't need stuff like that, that is like a bonus extra things you can have in your life if you can afford it. No one associates that with security. It's excess. So that's just kind of strange that they're talking about that. And then it's like, hey, be careful, because you could become a slave to the thing you bought. But you can also be a slave to the thing you buy into, like being a Jehovah's Witness. You buy into that essentially with your time and your money and your life, and you become a slave to that. Yeah, people make some pretty dumb choices, like, oh, I'm going to sign up for my first credit card so I can buy a $1,000 smartphone. That is a ridiculous, very stupid financial decision to make. To sign up for a credit card and then try and pay 24% interest on an iPhone that you don't even need. Why not just get a simple refurbished phone for $100 that you can actually afford instead of having to pay for it? So, I mean, to a certain extent, yes, but who are you talking to? Like, this is a grown man. He's not like he's 17 years old getting, oh man, I can get this credit card in the mail right away. He's a grown up. He knows these lessons by now. So this whole music video makes Jehovah's Witnesses appear to be children. They want them to be so childlike. It's so baffling. They can't speak to them like adults. They can't speak to them in real terms. They have to be like, hey, I know you got that offer for that credit card, but just remember, like, dude has a mustache out here. I'm sure he can handle that. But anyway, let's get into it a little bit more.
We have roofs over our heads, food to eat and nice warm beds. If we are satisfied with simple things, we'll feel the joy and peace it brings. Let's keep it simple. Jehovah knows what we need. Let's keep it simple and be happy. Let's keep it simple, and you and I will be free. Let's keep it simple and be happy.
Panem Essercens. That's Latin for the bread and the circus. It was this Roman concept that people will not revolt against the higher-ups. They will not go French Revolution and start chopping people's heads off if they have their bread and circus. That is what if you give them that, then hopefully they won't go crazy. It's this artificial appeasement, so that way the fundamental things wrong with society aren't appropriately dealt with. And I feel like this is what Watchtower has devolved into. They just want people to be happy with their bread and their circus. They are actively making it harder for people to live secure, comfortable lives. They discourage people from getting education. They discourage people from climbing the corporate ladder or taking positions that might otherwise interfere with their theocratic activity, which that's like 4 days a week you have some type of theocratic activity. So they're holding people back from being more secure, having more financial stability, and they want them to just be happy with the Paname Essence. They are speaking to them as if they're children as well. Let's go and play duck charades. There's nothing wrong with playing charades. That can be very fun. A goofy, silly, good time to get together with friends and stuff. So there's nothing wrong inherently with doing that. But it's the way that it's portrayed, I suppose, that irritates me. Because, like I said before, here you have a grown adult that you have to hold their hand through life, or else they're going to get that credit card and then buy a new artificial intelligence, augmented reality. I don't even know what the hell those things are called, but they're going to buy a new cell phone or buy some new gadget. So you got to hold their hand through that. And now it's like, okay, well, what can we do for entertainment as grown adults? We have to get these stupid little cartoon duck cards and go. Shout outs to knowing random weird things in Latin, I suppose.
God will bless us if we try. He will never let us down. He is loving, just and wise. He will be our solid ground. On him we can rely.
So the connection with the visuals and the lyrics is pretty obvious. You look around, you see God taking care of the ducks and the bunnies and everything. And obviously, if he takes care of them, he'll take care of you as well. The funny thing is when you're a Jehovah's Witness, this is a lie. Because what they're saying is God will never let you down. He'll always make sure you're taken care of. You know, if you actually need help and you're a Jehovah's Witness and you go to the organization for, let's just say, you're struggling with food or to pay your rent or hospital bills or any matter of things. If you go to that organization, you know what they will do? This God that will never let you down? They will send you to another church. I covered this in a previous video, but they have guidelines for elders and for Bethelites that receive these requests to direct people to other churches and other organizations that have programs set up to give you the help you need.
How do we use our financial means to make friends in heaven?
In many countries, we can give using a credit or some debit cards via jw.org.
Now, as you can fully imagine, with Watchtower's squeaky clean past and transparency historically when it comes to how donations are used, it'll come as no surprise to anyone that a letter just went out to all elders in the U.S. branch territory detailing how Jehovah's Witnesses can take advantage of some of the more humanitarian aid that Watchtower provides. Things like financial assistance, medical assistance, food, housing, and other things as well. Excuse me, I'm here from the Watchtower charity department, and I just wanted to clarify a few things.
Okay.
Now, it seems that you mentioned financial help, housing help, medical, food, and others. For those first four, I just wanted to clarify real briefly, we don't. What do you mean you don't? Like, you don't do anything at all?
No, yes, we don't do any sort of thing like that.
I ended up making this video twice, and in the second attempt, I realized that I never actually described exactly what this document is. What it is a resource that Jehovah's Witness elders can point ordinary members to in order to get assistance from various charities or government institutions. And in all of the links that are available in this document, not one of them is anything Watchtower related. So that is essentially what this document is. Now, back to your regularly scheduled program. When you actually need help with real-world problems, this Jehovah's Witness God went out for a pack of cigarettes or some beer, and he never came back home.
How good it feels to live the simple life. Our hearts are happy and our loads are light. With all this weight taken off our chests, we're free to give our God our best. Let's keep it simple. Jehovah knows what we need. Let's keep it simple, and be happy. Let's keep it simple, and you and I will be free. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple. Jehovah knows what we need. Let's keep it simple, and be happy. Let's keep it simple, and you and I will be free. Let's keep it simple, and be happy.
What in the Truman Show is happening with this music video? He's just walking around town, randomly meeting people that he knows that are all Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, oh, hey, Phil, I didn't know you'd be at the bus stop today. Just waiting for my bus to come. Hey, while you're here, do you want to watch a Jehovah's Witness music video? Oh, golly gee willikers, would I ever love to do that? It is so incredibly stupid how they're portraying all of this. Now, I find it fascinating how they portray this. So he's walking around through this whole music video with this credit card advertisement in his back pocket. And then he dramatically throws it away after he gets done talking to all of his pals that are cart witnessing and at the bus stop. But to me, this says that most Jehovah's Witnesses are longing for more. They do want just to live a more normal life. They would like to have nice things. Most people would like to have nice things. And I think that's why they showed it as a sacrifice, as it were. It's like you have to choose between these things and being a Jehovah's Witness. You can't have both. And it's just an interesting way that they are. I look at it from the perspective of the people writing this must understand, because at one point they were just a rank and file Jehovah's Witness themselves, understand that on a base level, they do want more. Goose, what is wrong? Goose, what is wrong? What, do you need more? What's up, buddy? Everyone needs more. Sometimes even dogs, they just need a little more attention. But I guess the long and short of it is this music video super sucks. And now that I've already gotten my heart rate up a little bit, and Goose Ears tried to get that down just a bit and also eat my mouse, we're going to talk about a little morning worship talk that they included in the broadcast, which is absolutely ridiculous. So we might have to get the candles out for this one, but we'll see. Hi, buddy. What's up?
How do we know that we are practicing true Christianity? That's the intriguing topic of this morning worship presented by Brother John Ekron.
Many years ago, a brother in my congregation asked me to go with him in field service and return on a man who had asked him to come back. Well, it wasn't too long after we were there in his house that it became clear to us that he wasn't so much interested in listening to us as he was to convince us that Jehovah's Witnesses was the wrong religion. And he went on to attack Brother Russell. Charles Taze Russell started your organization, And he made accusations about Brother Russell did this and that, etc. And his reasoning was that since Brother Russell was flawed in these ways, that God could not have used him to start the right religion. Well, we took the opportunity to point out his wrong reasoning. And basically, he was saying that God cannot use imperfect men to do his will. Well, think if we applied that to the Bible. Moses failed to credit Jehovah God for the miracle with the water. What are we going to do? Take out the first 5 books of the Bible? David sinned with Bathsheba. We're going to take out most of the Psalms? Peter denied Christ. Well, there goes 1st and 2nd Peter. See, that reasoning really doesn't make sense. Jehovah God does use imperfect people to do his will.
No, you idiotic little worm. There are people that I can't stand in this world. People that are super arrogant, kind of piss me off a little bit, and people that are obnoxiously stupid are also irritate me a little bit. But when you combine those two personality traits and you become an arrogant, obtuse moron, it just drives me up a wall. So what is the situation here? So they go and this guy brings up, oh man, Charles Taze Russell, he founded your church, blah, 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 and then made some accusations. Well, John, what accusations were those? What claims was that person making? And are those claims that person was making true or not true? Okay, well, obviously he doesn't give us any of that information. And then he proceeds to reduce this classic logical fallacy, reductio ad absurdum, where you reduce an argument to absurdity. So what you're saying is that God can't use imperfect men? Well, that just discredits the whole Bible. Ha ha, hee hee, I win. No, that's not how that works, you dingleberry. Would a God of truth use lies to teach truth? That is the argument being made. Why would God be using Charles Taze Russell to spread falsehood in order to spread truth? That's the real question there, big guy. So this is actually a really good argument that you can make, and let me just walk through why it's such an effective argument. ZZ, he really wants to be in on the action. Maybe I'll just put him out. So the argument can be made as follows. Who started the Watchtower Society? Like, how did Jehovah's Witnesses get started? Now, if a Jehovah's Witness wants to be real stupid and cheeky, they'll say Jesus did. Now, if they say Jesus instead of Charles Taze Russell, then that's even an easier argument to make. You say, okay, well, Jesus started it. Well, what did Jesus say would be an identifying mark of true Christians and false Christians? Well, that's easy. Then you can read them in Matthew where it talks about anyone that is prophesying something and it doesn't come true, is not speaking in my name. Anyone that's teaching something that's not in this doctrine is a false prophet. Read them any of those. And then you can go back and say, okay, so then by your own definition, Jesus started true Christianity and Watchtower has gotten things wrong. Therefore, they would, by your definition, Mr. Jehovah's Witness, be false prophets, right? Well, no. I mean, people can make mistakes. No. You said Jesus started it. You're saying Jesus now can make mistakes? Jesus is the one spreading falsehood? So that if they want to be idiotic and just go the Jesus route, so if you find a real dummy out there, then they'll say that. So that's easy to dismantle. Now, if they go it was Charles Taze Russell, and they just want to be honest and open, okay. So Jesus was using Charles Taze Russell to start the Watchtower organization? Okay. What evidence do you have that his claims were true? Like, what evidence is there that Jesus was using him or that God was using Charles Taze Russell? Well, he taught a lot of the things that other Christians weren't teaching, like the soul doesn't live, people are a soul and they don't have a soul, and he didn't believe in hellfire, and all of these things we know to be biblical truths. Okay, so did he ever say anything that you now know to be a biblical untruth? If they're honest, they'll say, well, he didn't have everything exactly right, but that's why God uses a progressive revelation, and he's revealed things over time. And you come right back to it. So by your definition then, the God of truth uses untruth and lies in order to teach truth. It is such a silly way of arguing. And this John Ekron guy, he is so arrogant, just the way he's talking. Oh, well, we were able to reason with him. Clearly, he didn't want a Bible study. He was trying to teach us something. But if you're as cool and smart as me, you could never teach me anything. It is really frustrating hearing this. But let's see what this titan of wisdom has to teach us.
But putting aside his flawed reasoning for a moment, maybe you've heard others say that Jehovah's Witnesses are a breakaway Christian sect, or that we're a new American religion. Is that really true? Did Brother Russell start a new religion? No, absolutely not. What he did do is rediscover the true religion of the Bible, the way it was practiced by Jesus and the apostles. Well, that's exactly what those early Bible students did. They asked about the ancient roadways that Jesus walked. Now, can you imagine an explorer trying to locate in a jungle an ancient path that was there? Now, in a jungle, the path could have been covered over by years of growth, and it would be difficult. But maybe he saw a stone or two, and eventually, by cutting away the jungle around it, imagine his excitement at finding that ancient path. Well, when you get a chance to read some of the early writings of Brother Russell and the early Bible students, you get a real sense of discovery, that they are excited to have found the truths that are there in the Bible all along. It's just been covered over with hundreds, thousands of years of lies and twisted doctrines taught by false Christianity.
The craziest thing about that statement is that if you show a Jehovah's Witness old Charles Russell writings, they will immediately discredit it as being from an apostate source because they don't have access to it. For those of you that don't know, this guy has a digital copy of all of those old Watchtowers that he can search and look through. It's part of their Watchtower library. This guy has access to something that normal rank and file Jehovah's Witnesses don't have access to. So when he says, when you go back and read, a normal Jehovah's Witness doesn't have any way unless their great-great-great-grandfather kept some old books around. They have no way of accessing that information. So what happens is Watchtower curates it and says, hey, look at this little snippet. Because if you say, hey, here's all of Charles Taze Russell's writings, look at how excited they were to be finding these little stones of truth, no one would come to that conclusion. They would come to the conclusion of this was a rambling, delusional old guy that was looking for meaning in places that don't have any.
Right away, the early Bible students eliminated a lot of jungle growth from the path. No immortal soul. We are a soul. No hellfire. When we die, we cease to exist and depend on a resurrection.
I promise you I didn't watch this entire video before I started recording this, but I just think it's so funny how he is literally just using all of the arguments that I said that a Jehovah's Witness would make when it comes to this. They are so unbelievably predictable.
Yes, Jehovah's Witnesses today, we don't have a single leader or one man that is leading the organization. We're organized today as it was in the first century, a governing body, a group of men Jehovah uses to lead his organization today. And all the congregations around the world are united by the direction that we get from the governing body.
I do have to give it up. He's right here. I mean, clearly in the Bible, it says that all Christians were run by the governing body, and a governing body would make all decisions for all true Christians. If they had a question, they would go to that governing body, and it was impossible to disagree with that governing body because we have so many examples of that happening in the Bible, where we read the words, the governing body has decreed this, and the governing body has decided this. So it's really nice that they're keeping in step with that.
And just as the apostles and elders in Jerusalem would send out decrees for all the early Christian congregations of the time. The same exact model is used today. Now, today, decisions from the governing body take many forms. It could be articles in the Watchtower, letters to bodies of elders and the congregations, governing body updates, organizational direction provided at schools, and many other forms. But all around the world, no matter where Jehovah's Witnesses live, they accept the direction from one governing body. There's not the Latin Jehovah's Witnesses or the American Jehovah's Witnesses or the European Jehovah's Witnesses. We're all united worldwide. And Jehovah's Witnesses in one country don't say, well, I don't think that direction from the governing applies to us here. No, all of us understand that worldwide, Jehovah and Jesus are using the governing body as the channel for spiritual food and organizational direction.
Clip this, share this, remember this. Anytime that they get hauled before a court and they try and weasel their way out of saying, well, the governing body, we really are, this has nothing to do with us. So we don't exercise. We are just concerned over the spiritual welfare of the brothers and sisters. Let us never forget that this guy said that it's not just the spiritual side, but it's an organizational direction. The direction of the organization across the entire globe. So let us never forget this moment, because it is very important to remember, because as we know, you can get a governing body member that will say this under oath.
Your question correctly. From what I've heard from Mr. Spink's testimony, that is not something that we require now. I'm prefacing this in the fact that it's not my field that I work with every day. Mr. Spinks and those who work in the service department work with these matters, but that is my understanding.
This hearing, can you understand the circumstance for a woman who brings an allegation against an elder, who is a friend of the others, who must judge the truth or otherwise of the allegation? Can you understand how that person must feel?
I can try to understand it, Your Honour, yes. But again, could I ask, and again, this is not my field of activity, but as far as I understand, we have a process in place whereby a neutral member, like a circuit overseer, will be involved with such a sensitive case.
Do the members of the governing body, do you see yourselves as modern-day disciples, the modern-day equivalent of Jesus' disciples?
We certainly hope to follow Jesus and be his disciples.
And do you see yourselves as Jehovah God's spokespeople on earth?
That, I think, would seem to be quite presumptuous to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using.
Now, some feel that because our world headquarters is in the United States, that Jehovah's Witnesses are an American religion. But that reasoning is like some who say that, well, the Bible's only for the Jews because it was written by Jewish men. But clearly, the Bible's message is for all mankind. And the fact that Jehovah chose Jewish men to write it down for us doesn't limit its message to just Jews. Likewise, the fact that Jehovah chose the United States as the location for world headquarters doesn't mean that Jehovah's Witnesses are an American religion. There's no limit to anyone, no matter what country or language, from becoming one of Jehovah's Witnesses and worshiping Jehovah.
Hey guys, remember that thing we said about not getting nationalistic or having too much national pride earlier in this exact broadcast? Hey, we were just goofing around, having a silly little prank on you guys. God bless America. What? Well, I mean, God chose America to have his world headquarters, USA. But don't have national pride, guys. America's the best, but hey, don't have any national pride. It was such an odd thing to hear. Well, I think you guys are getting the gist of this talk and most of the interesting little tidbits here. Yeah, this talk was pretty wild, and this music video was pretty wild too. So a very interesting JW broadcast, I must say. There was one other little couple sections in here, but we don't need to yap about it for 3 hours long. So anyway, we'll wrap it up right there. With all that being said, stay safe, be kind, and show yourself the same kindness that you show to others. And you better have a good ass day.